Welcome back to StrongSide. I'm Mike Palucci. He is Mike Marshall.
Hello.
I'm at Mike Likes Sports. He's at Machine Sports.
Pretty easy to remember.
Pretty easy. A lot of sports, a lot of liking things. We are back in the beautiful Haymaker Studios up in Frisco, Texas, doing what we do. If you like it, go subscribe to D Magazine. Go check out StrongSide on the internet. If you don't, still do those things. But let's be real. That's why you're watching the show. You like this stuff. Yeah. So, Mike, last week we were here and we predicted some things. Predicted a little bit of a Cowboys win. Predicted a little bit of a Mean Green win. Those things did not happen, dear viewer. We apologize for the mistake on our end. But we are back here. We're going to do some more sports because that's what we do every week. Rain or shine, whether we look smart, whether we look dumb, whether things go great, whether you've got a vendetta against a certain referee. This is what we do. So
you got to show up every day. That's the difference between us and everyone else. We're not going to duck the smoke.
Nope.
I wouldn't say that Tulane necessarily won. I would say that the ref won. It's like UNT this many points, Tulane this many points, and then the ref has like a nice 4.
The rare triple scoreline.
Yeah,
no one
notices it. The box scores can't even handle it, can't comprehend it as of yet. But yeah, man, I mean, that's a big bummer on both counts. Cowboys really stung on Thursday night, and then I didn't think I could be more pissed off, but I was on Friday night with the North Texas.
That was just frustrating.
Game being ruined by ref bits. But yeah, there is other news that we will get to, and we have the great Jared Sandler joining us,
the best,
later in the program to talk about the Rangers offseason, the Nimmo for Simeon trade. Are they going to spend money? And then things like when we're going to see Sebastian Walcott in a Rangers uniform. But to start off, news of the week. Is Tom Hicks, former Rangers and Stars owner, passes away. For better or worse, one of the people that I credit my sports business knowledge to the most is Tom Hicks. Like when people weren't writing about issues like contracts or like the parking lot money doesn't go to the ownership, it goes to this other group. Like a lot of the nuances in sports that got me intrigued about, how the Rangers were operating, and how the Stars were operating and how the AAC runs. It was Tom Hicks. It was him either bringing these things to light or signing a contract like A-Rod's.
Yep.
Or putting a team together like the Stars that won the Stanley Cup. So whenever you hear Tom Hicks and his legacy across the sports board, what comes to your mind?
The first thing, unfortunately, concerns somebody else who passed away, which is our friend Zach Crane, who you didn't work with directly at D before you got here.
Big fan, and we're friends.
You're friends. Yeah. You knew each other. I worked with your pal of mine, somebody we miss a whole lot and always will. And after Zach died a couple years ago, we found out that he wrote a freelance piece for a German magazine. And it was I guess they must have commissioned it because of some Dirk ties. And it was basically a 41-point history of Dallas. And the thing must be like 10,000 words. And it's so good. It's so Zach. There's a part of it that always sticks with me because he's so good at summing up a lot of Dallas. And he wrote about basically, I don't even know what point it was in there off the top of my head, but it was basically about how there aren't a lot of distinctly Dallas things, right? There's a lot of stuff that we have as culture that I wouldn't say is distinctly Dallas culture. A lot of times we are trying to figure out what we are as a city. I lived in LA for a long time. There's a lot of Dallas trying to be LA. What there is a very distinct Dallas brand of is trying. There is this big, bold, ambitious, we're going to try shit. That's what we do. And that's how the city came to exist and keeps existing. And I think about that in regards to Tom Hicks, because when I think of the things that he did as a sports owner, it's really ambitious. I mean, first of all, he was one of kind of on the forefront in a lot of ways. Now there are a lot more people. The Cronkies are a big example. I think Josh Harris is another one.
Sure.
But the multi-team ownership, there weren't a lot of people doing that when Tom Hicks owned the Stars and the Rangers at the same time. And the idea that this is one of the biggest cities in the country and he owned half of the big four teams, one dude, owned them both, just blew my mind. I remember when he bought the Rangers, I'm like, wait, you could do that? You can own one team and own another team too? Like somebody could pull that off? But he did, right? So you think about it from that level, but you think about it just for what those teams were. I mean, he bought the Stars. We have a really good piece on the site today from Jeff Miller, who wrote about the first big swing that Tom Hicks made, which was getting Joe Nieuwendyk, who wound up being, a lot of people forget, it wasn't Mike Modano who was the playoff MVP. It was Joe Nieuwendyk who was the playoff MVP when they win the Cup in '99. And a lot of that story also to set the stage is reminding people, he bought the team in '95. This thing was treading water. Ralph Strange is the great play-by-play man. talk about how, like, are we making payroll? Is that where we're at? Well, Tom Hicks comes in, and on the back of, are we making payroll? Right when he gets in the door, is like, he tells Bob Gainey, who's the coach and general manager, he's like, who do you want to go get? Go get somebody. Just go do something.
Yeah.
And they go get Joe Nieuwendyk as one of the best centers in the NHL. They trade a guy as a future Hall of Famer, Joe McGinley, to get Joe Nieuwendyk. But it's like, whatever, man, we're doing stuff. We're making things happen. And then, boom, a few years later, this team that was really kind of a poster child for, will hockey work in the South? The Stars don't work. A lot of other teams don't come to the South United States.
Yeah. But
they become the standard. And they're the team that is fighting the Red Wings and fighting the Avalanche, you know, those rivalries that we grew up on. The Stars came up on the good end of that more often than not. And that's because Tom Hicks was a guy who basically was like, yeah, I'm not just owning this thing to have a little fun toy. We're going to go win some stuff.
Yeah.
So you have it on that side. And then on the other side, what do you remember? You remember A-Rod. You remember, I mean, Alex Rodriguez, it can't be said enough. If you were there, you know. But the Rangers signing A-Rod was just a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, it really was.
Because it's this team signing the best dude in the sport and paying how much money? Yeah. We're doing what? And he's going where? And it wasn't just that, right? There were a lot of things. Chan-Ho Park's the other one that comes to mind is the bad end of the coin, right? Didn't go well. A lot of stuff you know, in today's baseball age, I don't know if that owner makes that signing with this ballpark, because you could do cursory Googling now and be like, his splits away from Dodger Stadium and hitter sparks, not so great. Maybe we shouldn't do this. That kind of was beside the point. Like, yeah, they did not win big in the Hicks era, right? I mean, they were just getting on the precipice of the John Daniels era, right when he was going bankrupt and the team gets sold. But it's this idea that, hey, this guy's doing stuff. This guy is trying. And that's really a lot of the Rangers' history is, and that's why talking to Jared today is going to be interesting when we talk about financial austerity and stuff like that. A lot of the Rangers' history all the way through winning the World Series is, I don't know how well considered a lot of this is, but damn, we're going to do it. Yeah. We're going to go out there. Should we be dropping this much coin on Marcus Semien and Corey Seager and Jacob deGrom? Do we have a full team to support that? I don't know. We're doing things. Yeah. Tom Hicks was the I'm doing things guy, and that made him a very Dallas guy. And still to this day, I mean, and I probably always will, I'll always think of him as this kind of iconic Dallas sports owner, even if there's only one trophy to show for two teams and ownership cumulative almost, 50 years. It was the idea that this guy made things happen and this guy did stuff. And that's what you want sports owners to be. It shouldn't be an investment vehicle. It should be, this is fun. I'll make my money elsewhere. Let's go see what I can do in town. And Tom Hicks was really, when he had the money before he was bankrupt, but when he had the money, that's how he operated.
Yeah, and if any sports figure in the ownership realm is going to challenge Jerry Jones in terms of ambition, it's Tom Hicks. It's not Mark Cuban. Like, I love Cubes. I love you, Mark. Like, but you do not have the coin that Tom Hicks had.
No, in his heyday.
Or that Jerry Jones had. And you were not trying to own multiple entities and then own soccer teams and then own property around the AAC. That's not Mark's bag. Tom Hicks was the original Kroenke family model, right? And I think some of the rules that are now in place about how many teams you can own in an area by one family or one, entity, probably in place because of him, because he probably tried to buy all of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He probably tried to own every single piece of it because he was the ultimate, sportsman that wanted to be involved in it, thought he could have a positive influence, and the ambition was out of this world. And the only person that has more, to me, ever in the Dallas sports scene is Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
Who thinks that he can touch anything, anywhere, and turn it to gold, right? That's the Jerry model. And Tom Hicks, like I said, a lot of the stuff that I know, wacky stuff, quirky stuff, like business stuff about sports that made me interested in from a young age is, number one, it's the people covering it. It's your David Moore. It's your guys like that telling these stories. But the things that Tom Hicks was doing in sports were interesting enough to bring to the limelight and write about consistently. And he's got a crazy legacy. Like, it is hard to top. And, thank you for the Stars Cup, man. You didn't have to go all in on a little team like that, but yeah, he was a certified badass owner.
He's a giant.
Yeah,
he was a giant,
no doubt about it.
So the Cowboys did not win, and the playoff math is kind of simple at this point. If they win out, if Philly drops 2, Dallas finds this miracle way to climb up the back and get into the postseason. That to me right now isn't terribly interesting. I think 3 of these teams are pretty doable, and then the Chargers are going to be a little more of a challenge.
Yep.
What was funny to me, though, come out of this game is we got George Pickens discourse.
Yeah.
We were due for some more of it. It happened. Richard Sherman said a lot of very pointed things. George Pickens released one of the more hilarious Instagram statements I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Included the line about how don't talk to me if you don't know ball, more or less.
You don't know the game.
If you don't know ball, man, maybe stick.
Don't speak on my name.
Never mind that Richard Sherman played for one of the best defenses of all time.
He was pretty good.
Was
yeah.
maybe the best corner of his era.
Ask Michael Crabtree.
He knew a little bit of ball.
Sherman is.
He knew a little bit of ball. And that led to, just led a lot of discourse that's going on about George Pickens and this extension and all this stuff. I mean, how much weight are you putting on this stuff?
I don't really care about the reply or on Instagram. I know they get put in a really weird position because anybody can just sling shit at you at any point if you make a certain dollar figure or if you're a public figure in general. And there's no real recourse for you to respond besides the way I would, which is on the field. Prove them wrong on the field. Channel that frustration. And this person on the other side of the table, all they're trying to do is make a headline, get a quotable, get shared across socials. Like that's what Richard Sherman was trying to do. It's pretty obvious and pretty ugly. I don't appreciate that. I don't respect that kind of broadcasting. That's not my vibe at all. Pickens needs to chill the hell out on that stuff if he wants to get the kind of money that he deserves to get. And I understand the frustration that was coming out of, I think Richard saw the frustration that was coming out of Cowboys fans from Pickens not taking over that game and was very bad actor, opportunistic. Ooh, Cowboys fans are mad about something. I better jump on this and make a soundbite from it because then everybody will share it. But in reality, like you walk into that game and there's a game plan for what CD's going to do and there's a game plan for what Pickens wants to do. And Pickens' game plan is consistently more freelancing and running his own kind of routes and not being involved on the plays that are going to when CD's the first read. So to ask him to switch that mid-game is kind of insane to me. You just assume the law of transference that you go down to the depth chart and Lamb's out. Okay, all targets go to Pickens. Here we go. That's not how that game plan was designed. That's why Flournoy went off because they had a good game plan and they knew nobody could cover that position whenever they designed it properly. That was not a Pickens game. I guarantee you they said that during the week. George, you're not going to get a ton.
Well, there's also the idea, too, of what did Pickens do while he's not doing things? Well, part of why CeeDee Lamb could go off and, he's CeeDee Lamb. He'll always make plays. But part of why his life's a little easier and the coverages aren't as intense, part of why Ryan Flournoy could go in there and execute 85% of the same game plan is because George Pickens is over here and he's a second point of gravity. And so David Moore wrote a really good piece for us today basically saying, actually, the Detroit game is why you do pay him. Because the minute CeeDee Lamb leaves, for how many years between Amari Cooper and this, it was good luck rest of the offense. Good luck, Dak. Go make stuff happen. And Dak is one of the handful of quarterbacks who could do that in a lot of situations. You should not be asking that about him. Having George Pickens here with CeeDee Lamb as your second gravitational point, that's how you push the easy button for a guy who is going to be 33 next year, who you have is playing at a top level. You don't know how many years you've got. This Super Bowl idea, forget what you do on the defense. It all starts with Dak getting you there. Having George Pickens here makes that happen. Will you deal with some weird stuff sometimes? Yes, you will. Will him and CeeDee Lamb go out in Vegas? Apparently so. I remember a couple years ago, really it's 4 years now, when I first started D Magazine, I did a piece on Rika Ogunbowale of the Wings and her best friend, Marina Mabry, who played here with her for a while, played in Notre Dame. And it was this story about a bond that's basically kind of sisterly and how they wanted a title at Notre Dame. They wanted to win with the Wings. It didn't happen. But the coach at the time described them as fire and fire. Not fire and ice, fire and fire. And she even said, she's like, this is weird. That's not how this normally goes, but it works.
Yeah.
And that's these two. You're going to have two big personalities. You're going to have a few times a year where they might get the take machine sputtering.
Yeah.
But on the field, they complement each other so well. And they make life easier. And it makes it possible. All these same people that are upset about George Pickens were not upset at George Pickens as CeeDee Lamb was hurt.
Yeah.
And he was carrying this passing attack.
Yep. Exactly.
Didn't hear that complaining back then.
Yeah.
So, I think it's a little bit much ado about nothing, but that's the Cowboys experience ever.
Yeah, and things that happen on social are disposable. Here's a little hint for you. Like, this stuff doesn't matter in a month, you know what I mean?
A week.
It's not going to matter whenever they're negotiating his contract. Like, no one's going to believe it. And I do think, like, the sports world is kind of coming back to my theology of push your advantage.
Yep.
If you have one good wide receiver, what does this look like with two? What does this look like with three?
Yeah.
You know, like that's how I approach sports in general. I'm like, that's a smart way to do things. Now, where the Cowboys sit at this moment is a little bit of a pickle because they did not take advantage of the Lions game. And you would really want them to do that, considering the injuries that the Lions had. Rotating offensive linemen consistently and still not being able to create pressure was super frustrating, man.
Yeah, that's problematic.
The Lions were able to take advantage of your weakest points, and the Cowboys were not capable of taking advantage of their weakest points.
That's the game.
That's the game.
That's the game.
A couple head-ass things from Jake Ferguson happen. Dak throws a ball backwards. You introduce volatility into the game, and you are not winning where you're supposed to win. You lose to a good team. And make no mistake, the Lions are still a very good team. They were just gettable. They were as gettable as the Eagles were, if not more at that moment. And it really bummed me out. I was like, this is a big boy game. Put your big boy pants on. We're going to go have a big boy fight. And they did not take advantage.
No, they're not there yet.
The weakest link. They're not there yet. They're a mile away from where Detroit is and where some of these teams, even in a bad spot, in an injury game, Detroit's better.
Yeah.
And that's just how it's going to be for a while. But a team that is leveling up just a touch in the Metroplex after starting 5-15, your Dallas Mavericks.
A little frisky.
4-1. And the last 5, Cooper Flagg is closing games.
Mm-hmm.
Putting the clamps on people and scoring late. I guess not super surprising, considering you got Anthony Davis back. I thought they'd be like a 500 team if Anthony Davis played the whole time. What's changed with the Dallas Mavericks of late?
It is encouraging, though, that even with Anthony Davis back, 3 of those wins were against playoff teams, right? After struggling the way they did, you beat Denver, you beat Miami, you beat Houston. And that Houston win is convincing. That Denver win is a massive comeback. Something's different. It's really 3 things are different. Number one, we got to talk about Ryan Nembhard.
Dude can play.
Dude can play.
He can ball a little bit.
And I think it's not just dude can play. It's dude knows how to play.
Yeah.
That's, if you watch his brother in Indiana, same dude.
Yeah.
Different body types, but just one of those smart dudes out of Gonzaga is like, you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
shout out Bobby Carella, by the way. He's been calling Ryan Nembhard's name since they acquired him. He's like,
Bobby knows
this guy's
ball.
Going to be good. Yeah,
Bobby knows ball.
BK knows ball.
He's going to be on the show sometime.
Yep.
Well, to prove the point, right, I'm going to read some stats from the great Mark Followell. Tweeted this out yesterday. I thought this was very instructive.
Mm-hmm.
Since Ryan Nembhard took over as the Mavs starting point guard on November 28th, this is a very important date. So turnovers per game before then, 16.9 per game, 3rd most in the league. After that, 11.3, fewest in the league. Assist to turnover ratio, 1.41, 30th in the NBA. Assist to turnover ratio post Ryan Nembhard being the dude, 2.44, 2nd in the NBA. Now, caveats, right? They went from having, we're not really starting a point guard when Cooper's doing it, to we're starting a guy Jason Kidd might hate and D'Angelo Russell, to a guy in Brandon Williams who is really a combo guard who, can handle the ball on occasion, but that's not his bag, right? So to go from that to any level of competence at point guard, this is bigger than just Ryan Nembhard. Ryan Nembhard can play, but also, it can be 2 things to be true at once. Ryan Nembhard can be good, and Ryan Nembhard is not a swing factor that large on his own. But when you have nothing of competence at the lead creator position, and then you have a guy who knows what he's doing, even as a rookie, even as an undrafted rookie, trains are going to run on time more frequently. So that's number one. Number 2, Anthony Davis is back. And that has allowed, between that and Derek Lively's injury, we need a pause to note that Derek Lively, unfortunately, is out for the year with foot surgery. That is sad.
That's a big bummer, man.
And that's a little...
I feel so bad for him. I honestly do. I'm sorry, man.
Good dude.
I'm sorry your feet can't get right. Hopefully this takes care of it for good. But, yeah, the best dude. The absolute best dude. I feel so bad that... Man, it's just a bummer.
And for those who, a good dude, and for those who just want to look at the basketball element of it, if you look at this roster and you look at what name after Cooper Flagg can complement him long-term, pending health, it's Derek Lively. So this is alarming from a team-building perspective because this guy he's played 98 of a possible 189 regular season games in his career. The numbers declined every year.
Yeah.
Not what you want. But with Derek Lively out, with Anthony Davis back, they've been playing a lot more Cooper Flagg at the 4 and Anthony Davis at the 5. And the Anthony Davis at the 5 thing is pretty simple. Anthony Davis doesn't like playing the 5 a lot. Anthony Davis is very good at playing the 5. That's what he should do. Everybody knows this. I think maybe even Anthony Davis knows this. Man doesn't want to do it much. But right now he is, and the spacing is so much better. When you have a real point guard and you have a gravitational point like Anthony Davis in the middle, in between then just there's so much more space. And what happens? An 18-year-old dude who has raw skills but is learning the NBA game, well, you make his life easier.
Yep.
And game by game, that guy is learning how to take stuff over. The way he plays aesthetically is so fun because it's just different than what we're used to watching here. You know, we've seen stars here. We all know that. But I don't think there's one quite like him. I think we're still figuring out who he really plays like. He's such an amalgamation of so many things. But he's getting more comfortable and he's got more room to operate. And then number 3 is, you talk about the Dallas style of trying, right? Well, it's funny. This team, our position has not changed. You still got to trade Anthony Davis. Got to do it for the future of the team.
Yeah.
You need to hit on that 26 pick. It's the last one they control for 4 more years.
Detroit or Chicago? I'm talking specifically to you right now, whichever camera I'm on. Anthony Davis is the best player in the league right now.
So good.
He will make you an instant title contender, Chicago Bulls or Detroit Pistons. You should give me multiple assets and picks for Anthony Davis.
I hear that his bones are brittle only because of the Dallas water. When he goes to the Midwest, he's the Hulk.
It's fine.
Nothing to worry about. Yeah. Nothing at all.
It's the filtration system in the water.
Yeah.
It's the problem.
We're working on it. But probably won't be done until he's on your team.
You need him. You need him to make a title run.
Gotta have
Pistons, you're as good as you've ever been. Come get Anthony Davis. Take it over the top, bad boys.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. So they should tank. The thing about it is that we are at a point where, and I don't know how this happened, because if you said this in Brooklyn and if you said this in Milwaukee, that Jason Kidd would be the number 1 coach in the NBA who nobody quits on ever under any circumstance, nobody would have believed that. But we are in this world now, and this dates back to last year, post-Luka trade, when morale's through the floor, when everybody's hurt, when there were 8 dudes on the floor, and they should have packed it in and they didn't. And now we're seeing that here. This team plays really fucking hard all the time. And that's how you get a game. Josh Bowe, our dude who was on here a few episodes ago, he made a really good point on their show on Pod Maverick after the Denver game when Dallas was down 27 against maybe the best player alive, Nikola Jokic, and they win. And there's some fluky shit in there, but what's not fluky is that if you hang around and you play hard and you are a team with some talent, which this team is, you'll steal a few.
Yep.
Because other teams won't be as mentally equipped to handle you going for 4 quarters when they've let the foot off the gas. It's the tortoise and the hare, right? You got out to the big lead, but you just keep on keeping on.
Yep.
That's what this team is. And so it's a combination of the effort and the intangibles are still there. You have a real point guard running the floor, and the dude who it was really funny because you and I are the sorts of people who buy into this stuff, but 4 games in with the histrionics about, well, maybe he's not that good of a prospect. Maybe in this draft he would have been the 5th best dude. This dude is a generational prospect.
Yeah.
And now that life is getting easier for him and he's figuring this thing out, he's going to do some stuff where he wins you games.
I worry what happens to the kids growing up watching sports now, because there is just like a slam the lever to the right. He's not any good. He's the best ever. Like each week, you're just constructing false narratives about a player.
Yeah.
Given, I could tell you like halfway through this year, he's not going to be that great. And if he is, that is the cherry on top.
Right.
He's affecting games positively, like into the 4th quarter. Like,
which is what he's now starting to do.
Now he's doing that, right? Yeah. And that is a stack higher in multiples than the early struggles.
Yep.
Because those are going to happen.
Yep.
And let me tell you a little secret about the NBA. Every team, after you get about a month or 2 in, is looking for a quarter or a half, sometimes a game, in which they can just kind of like chill out and take it easy.
It's a long season.
It's a long season.
You did the segment about how this is killing these teams.
It is so long. There is so much travel. It is nonstop. Even if you're working for the team and you're doing every single game, like it is a grind, man. And so each team is looking for a moment to take the foot off the gas, to chill out a little bit, to recover. And if you are that team that doesn't do that, and you're a hardo, and you grind for 4 quarters, and you just throw waves of dudes, and I don't know how Kidd got to being this guy. I assume it's his time with the Lakers. It has to be, right? Because it wasn't that way in Brooklyn and Milwaukee, and then he goes and studies under Frank Vogel, and they won a championship in the bubble, which is, we can debate the efficacy of that.
No, it's what a ring. It counts. I'm giving it to him.
Yeah, no, it counts. I'm just saying, like, that's either like the most difficult or the least difficult. I can never make my mind up. You know what I mean?
That is a really good point.
I can never make my mind up. If that's the
fair.
most difficult title because it's hard to give an F when that's going on.
Yep.
Or it's like the least difficult because everyone else is tapped out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know those were hard times. Jason Kidd, what he does now is he motivates dudes up and down the roster that if you play hard and you do it my way, and sometimes in a demonstrative manner, you're going to get minutes and you're going to play when it matters. And that motivates dudes all the way down to Ryan Nimhard, who's a UDFA signing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that guy, and that makes me wonder like why he wasn't starting earlier or didn't get a shot earlier. Maybe that's a Nico thing that we can just lay at his feet.
I mean, to be fair, though,
It's
it's still an undrafted rookie, and we're 25 games into the year. I get
it's early. It's early still.
I get
Yep.
in the circumstance, pressing, easing off the throttle a little bit with that dude. But either way, they're there now.
Yeah,
There
I mean,
now.
maybe you need an outside perspective, like maybe me to tell you that you don't need to waste time on D'Angelo Russell. I don't know, but that would have saved you some time,
Maybe just
right?
his whole career. Who's to say? But here's what we should say something about. So North Texas not in the playoff. Condolences. But there's still 2 Texas teams there. It's still a big event. We will still be watching it. So real quickly, we'll detour from Dallas, North Texas-centric sports. You got any playoff takes to fire off here?
I thought it was really weird. I mean, I know everyone's throwing their hands up in the air about who got in and who got out. I think it's pretty weird. There's a million narratives flying around. No, we played this team head to head, and we were at home. And I thought you said
stupid.
I thought you said home matchups matter, and I thought you said rankings matter. And I thought you said conference matters, and just all these like, this is exactly what they want. So let me just tell you that this is exactly what the playoff committee wants. The one that rings like the loudest to me is being able to be dropped out of the playoff bracket by not playing a game.
Yeah.
Is pretty bizarre. Like Miami jumping in without playing a game is pretty bizarre to me.
Yep.
So I mean I feel for the Notre Dame crowd that got left out. Now you don't go be a big baby about it. Okay.
I did feel for them. Now I don't feel bad for them.
Now I don't at all.
No,
all the like pity I felt for them for like a 24-hour period went away whenever I was like, y'all are so effing lame.
Listen,
like you're sitting out a bowl game? Oh my God. Like
I appreciate the reminder that nobody does Sanctimony like Notre Dame does Sanctimony. I'd forgotten who they were, forgotten what they do, I'd forgotten about the mystique and the touchdown Jesus and the gold helmets and Rudy and
Look at us, so important. We're too good for a conference.
Yeah, don't call it to come back. Don't call it to come back. We're here. We're here.
I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it was just, and then, the latest thing being poor Ivan Meisel, who wrote a book about Frank Leahy, was doing just a book signing at a scheduled to do one at a South Bend bookstore, but he is a member of the College Football Playoff Committee. And so they just said, you're not signing your book here. And he's like, why is Ivan catching strays, man?
What's happening, dude?
Yeah, just nobody needs to do this. I mean, look, we don't have enough time in the show for me to rant about how much I hate the modern college football product. I was a believer that the BCS was fine, actually.
Yeah,
I think it was
okay.
I think it was perfectly good. I think we didn't have to throw out a scientific system in favor of people arguing in a room and labeling that progress.
Yeah.
Don't think we do that in other, facets of our society. But either way,
here's a trick that you'll learn with age. Like people will bitch about anything.
Yeah.
You could let 24 teams in. And that 2015,
it's infinitely regressive because they were saying,
we'll go, what the hell?
Yeah, we do this every year with the NCAA tournament. And what happens now? We're watering it down even further. Like it's a mess and it sucks. I'm looking forward to my ask is one good first round matchup and then give me competitive stuff the rest of the way because some of these first round matchups are not going to be terribly fun on paper. So give me something. And then the one competitive matchup on paper is going to be just a brick fight with Oklahoma and Alabama. So, that might be something. But give me something interesting in the first round. Yeah. And then after that, I think it'll start getting fun.
A lot of rematches, or 2 rematches, but I don't really care for. Oklahoma and Bama is going to be a rock fight. They're just going to, throw crap at each other. That's not fun to me at all. Tulane and Ole Miss, the other rematch. Tech hosting, like I said last week, like I predicted they were going to host.
Yep.
College football playoff game. That is so cool for Joey, which he responded with an hour, like he always does after the game when I texted him. So thank you, Joey.
Reliable, all
Congratulations. I think the thing that I'll remember until the championship game happens is probably that North Texas could have been 11th. We could have been 11th.
Could have been there.
And us being 11, I think, created a situation where the conference gets a lot more money. And I'm talking about us. When I say us, I mean North Texas football.
The team on your T-shirt.
The American, the American Conference, I think, got $8 million more because Tulane was ranked 11th They were the highest.
Really?
Yeah. I think it was like the 4 highest conference champions or something like that, or maybe 5 get like an extra bump of money. But I think the American gets like millions of more dollars for us being that high, or our conference leader being that high. The UNC game sucked. No way about it. I don't have time to, and y'all don't want to hear it anyway, unless you are as angry as I am about it. But huge missed opportunity, and I don't know when we get back to this stage again, which is a big bummer. Indiana's kind of fun.
Indiana's a lot of fun, man.
I can give a Indiana. That's
everybody, if your team isn't in the hunt, you're not rooting for Indiana. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing either, but I did hear something pretty good at it. I think it was the Nevada coach. I don't know his name. I'm sorry, dude. We'll credit you later. But and it's the mentality that we talked to Tepper about it last week. The mentality that I have to take moving forward as a North Texas fan is I don't get Ethan Feaster and all the other
You're always welcome to join me.
5-star recruits across the country. The thing I got to remember is this is how it is, and you can look at the circumstances around you and make excuses about it, or you can evolve and optimize and get better at them. And what the Nevada coach said was, what we tell guys is if you come here and you ball out and kick ass for a year, you can go make $1.4 million at Oregon next year.
Yep. He's right.
That should be what Neil Brown's telling people right now.
Yeah.
You come to North Texas and you whip ass for a year, hey, go be a Sooner, go make $1 million next year. Happy for you. So happy for you. And that's the plight of the G5 team. Like, that's just how it's going to work. And I'm just learning it now because we have not been good for that long.
Should we talk some baseball?
Let's do baseball.
Yeah.
Let's fire it up. Jared Sandler next on Strong Side. Hey, welcome back to Strong Side. I'm Mike. He's still Mike, and we are joined by the great Jared Sandler, broadcaster from the Texas Rangers. Thank you for being here. I've been wanting to get you on the show for a long time. Longtime friend of both of ours, and one of the best dudes in the Metroplex. And
also true story.
Above all else, I do enjoy your battle against the robots. Joining me in this battle against the robots of throwing your laptop off the roof of your car yesterday.
Yeah, that was not a fun experience. Although my wife said this, and she's right. How lucky am I that like we have the cloud these days?
Yeah.
I mean, the data loss part of it was minimized.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're kind of like me, Mike. I think you're kind of like so much of my life is on my computer, like organization, pictures, like memories that now not in photo books, like, or album, like in, and then my like day-to-day work stuff. Like I need, like, there's so much that's saved and you can customize things. And like, I was able to transfer so much of that over with the new computer. It's like little things I'm dealing with. Like I had a Zoom earlier today. I had to re-download Zoom, but like, whatever, big deal.
Whatever 19 passwords you got going.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was, yes, I do not advise leaving your laptop on the top of your car and then driving out onto a main street in any city. Probably is not going to end well for you.
I'm going off the grid, like slowly but surely. I'm just going to be in a cabin somewhere in the woods. No
I'm going to show up for work one day, and it's going to be like that Goodwill Hunting thing where you're just not going to be here. And I'm going to be nodding and be like, you finally made it out. I'm going to you're going to be in some fucking pine tree encrusted area of the Pacific Northwest. And be like, I hope he's doing great out there.
The signs will be there. Like, you should have predicted this.
I think like we've all probably said, like, gosh, if I could just get rid of my phone, I would. Like, the reality is, like, I enjoy certain elements of having technology, but I do hate how tied, like, if something were to go wrong, how I'd be like one of those robots that malfunction and like just wouldn't know how to exist. Like I just
left turns.
Yeah. Like I don't need to use my computer for a day. Like but like I need to know that it's like all good and working.
Yeah.
Right?
I hate the power it has over you.
Yeah.
That's the thing. The insecurity it strikes in you when one device is missing. You're like, and it's from growing up the age we are. That's exactly what it is. Like, because it's pretty easy to fix all this stuff as you explained.
Yeah.
But we don't need to dive back into more of your tech talk. That's your tech talk for the day.
Thanks, everybody.
Wired.com. Got you. Let's talk about some baseball.
Let's do some baseball. Before we start looking ahead to all the fun things this offseason, we should look back a tiny bit. Not too much, because I feel like last year's a year of frustration for a lot of people. But I do want to know, as somebody who has a front row seat to this every day, you're at the ballpark all the time, what is it like when we all grew up watching a franchise that we understood to be extremely good at hitting and extremely poor at pitching? And you spend all last year with, these guys are incredible pitching, and the offense is just kind of a mess all the time. Is that just a weird mind trip of every day upending your expectations from everything you thought the Rangers were for the last 25 years?
So it's weird because their lineup shouldn't have struggled the way it struggled, at least on paper, right? Like, it'd be one thing if they rolled out a lineup where it's like, oh, these guys aren't, like, that's going to be tough sledding. And you kind of like prepare for it. But like, I don't know. I remember Chris Young was sitting in the media room in surprise when the Rangers signed Patrick Corbin. And Patrick Corbin was coming off like a few really weak seasons from like an ERA standpoint. But like he was like, hey, there are things we like. There are adjustments we think will help that we've seen that he even made at the end of the previous season. Plus, like, the Nationals were awful defensively. He didn't say that, but he was like kind of inferred. And like, we're not. Like, the Rangers are good defensively. And all we need for him to do is like, keep us in the game and our bats will do the rest. Right. And like, we all like, yeah, makes sense, because that was the thought. 2024 was a fluke offensively. These guys, adding Jock Peterson, adding Jake Berger, like, those were great additions. And this lineup was going to be one of the best in baseball. And it just wasn't. But it also then, you get like a real life example of the whole, would you rather, a team be really good at pitching and not like, because when we were watching the Rangers growing up and they would win or lose a game 10-8, it'd be like, gosh, like, can't these guys just pitch? Like,
right, yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. From an everyday standpoint, when you've got a team that can hit but can't pitch, you got guys playing every day who are achieving great things. Mm-hmm. Nathan Eovaldi was so much fun to watch. He's still only once every 5 days. And now the reality is pretty much every starter for the Rangers was doing something pretty cool. Their pitching was awesome. But like, man, it is tough to lose games 2-1, 3-2, and 2-0 like in 3 straight days. And that's like, it felt like the month of May was that. And like, we just didn't know, how do you keep telling the story in a different way? Yeah. But that was kind of bizarre. You don't think of Rangers baseball in that way at all.
No.
Yeah. So sitting here right now, it seems like the biggest move that they're going to make might have already been made, right? Acquiring Nimmo for Marcus Semien. The offense being what it is, I don't know if anybody's on the doorstep that I'm not scouting right now that's going to crack the thing consistently, preferably. That might happen because of an injury. The pitching is what it is. I think it's going to be elite again, but it feels like almost the exact same thing. Roll it back with a little bit of a switch of Nimmo for Semien. And I don't know how true it is on the spending. We'll see whenever they roll out day one what the salary is. Just give me a reason to feel really, really good about this thing moving forward.
So a few things on the money, because that's been such a big topic of conversation. Yes, they are. Not that I'm in these meetings, but like, I have no reason to believe that they're not going to shed payroll. But it's not like they're going to become the Athletics or the Guardians. I think they're still going to be kind of middle of the league, which, we can have a separate discussion. Like, the major market won the World Series in 23. Like, do you want them to be top 5 consistently? Heck with luxury tax stuff. Separate conversation. The possibility of a lockout next year probably impacts some of these strategic talks. And I'm not smart enough from a business standpoint, but they're definitely going to spend enough money to be competitive. Like, there's no, like, that is not, to me, going to be a fit excuse if they are not good. Like, oh, well, they didn't spend enough. No, there are plenty of teams that are going to be within that range. Now, they're going to have to spend differently. Doesn't mean they have to have platoons in their order 1 through 9, but there might be a little more platooning, or maybe try find guys that fit, that check certain boxes but aren't sexy. Like, you look at some of like the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays had Vladimir Guerrero, but like, how many baseball fans, not diehards, but like baseball fans, could have told you anything about like Addison Barger before the year, or like Davis Schneider, other than that he had like a mustache? But like,
there are people who learned that somebody named Ernie is playing baseball
and is good
in 2025.
Yeah,
very good. Yeah,
and so like, but they had guys who they did a lot of what the Rangers didn't do this year, which was they had son of a gun at bats. Like, they would wear your ass down on the mound, and that's what the 23 Rangers did.
Yeah.
The 23 Rangers did it and had a world of talent. So, like, I think there's some degree of, like, let's find the right guys to mix with the guys who we're going to have. So I do think, like, yeah, it's possible that Brandon Nimmo's the biggest name they acquire. I also, like, I think if Vegas were to put odds on that, it would be a pick'em, because I do think that they have the money to make another big ad, but probably just one more if it's like a $25 million a year guy. But also maybe they make a few other, like, not A-list ads, but, like, still the type of addition that will be, like, on the top headlines, right? Like, I always use it as a gauge. Like, the Rangers signed Tyler Wade to a minor league deal the other day. That's not on any headlines, right? That barely makes, I mean, it makes MLB trade rumors, but, like, barely. They're going to have a couple of those moves, I think, but they're not going to win the offseason. But they're going to, maybe this forces them to look at things in a different way along with reshuffling the deck. Maybe they're not going into the season with the type of hype that they did last year when people were like, yeah, the World Series again. Like, why not? I don't know that anyone's going to pick the Rangers to win the World Series if I had to guess going into next year. But I also think that while last year we saw a team that failed to meet expectations, I think that this year, if they press the right buttons, could be a team that exceeds expectations. That makes sense, kind of?
Yeah. And I appreciate the World Series, obviously, and I appreciate the spending they've done. And you're talking to a guy that worked for a team for a long time. So I know sometimes this is a business. Like, we are here to make money, and spending tax dollars over and above year after year is not sustainable. It just isn't for any team except you have the LA on your hat. I guess you can do it forever and just like, doesn't matter. So I'm not judging the spending on the roster or going up to the tax line stuff. Like, that doesn't matter to me. That's their business. Figure it out. The development part, I think, is the interesting part, because turn that switch immediately and say, like, hey, we have 7 $20 million players, or we have like 3, and now figure it out, at least position players. I think it's hard to do on a dime to say all these minor league guys get up here now and be ready.
You need cheap labor. And even the Dodgers to some degree took advantage of that last year, but let's take last year's Dodgers out of it. Every other Dodgers team, which whether they ended up winning the World Series or not, which they had done twice in this run prior to last year, but they've gone on this ridiculous run. They've benefited from cheap labor. And without explaining the CBA to people, basically anyone who's got less than 6-7 years of service time, that was so unintentional, I'm sorry. Because some guys at 7, some guys at 6. I did not mean to do that. That they are relatively cheap labor. The stars, maybe post 3-year mark, it's not going to be as cheap, but certainly anyone 0 to 3 years, that's cheap labor. Those are the guys who they're bouncing back and forth between AAA and the majors, or maybe a Wyatt Langford, right? Like we all think he can be a star, but he's still in that window. You need that, whether you're the Dodgers or certainly if you're on the bottom of the spending spectrum. Well, if you're going to now scale back with existing contracts, you can try and untangle those knots, but what probably is going to make more sense, and what I think the Rangers are probably going to have to do, is either find some bargain bins, and they've done a good job of that. I mean, they basically built a bargain bin bullpen last year. That was a part of the best ERA in Major League Baseball. But you also need the cheap labor, and so who are those guys going to be? Who's and maybe it is Cody Freeman and Michael Hellman again. They don't need to be stars. They don't need to carry you, but they need to be able to fill holes. They need to, like, on the bullpen, they need to. Who are the guys with no major league experience or very little, who are going to be able to give you significant innings in the rotation or the bullpen to help fill holes when someone gets hurt? And maybe one of those guys is performing well enough that when someone is healthy, you're not sending him down, because he's actually like Jose Corniel, Emiliano Teodo, David Davalillo. Like, he's probably a year away, but like, who's the guy that's going to like bust down the door and you're like, we got to get him up? Last year, I think the hope was that Emiliano Teodo might close games for them. Yeah. It was not the year for him. He got hurt. He wasn't very good. But like, he's young and he could be that guy this year, but like, who are the guys who you are not banking on innings from or at bats from who are going to be able to contribute? Maybe they're hitting 7th, not 3rd, but like that's meaningful too. And Mike, you're right. Like I think that's a big question that I don't think we're going to be able to answer until the season starts and we actually see like, all right, this guy's getting the call. Because I'll tell you what, whether those guys are studs or not, you're going to call those guys up. Cody Freeman is going to get, the Cody Freeman equivalent, Michael Hellman. Those guys are going to, every team goes through it. They go through injuries. And that to me is going to be a big difference in whether this team is able to push for a playoff spot or, just kind of swim, upstream like, it felt like they've been doing the last couple of years.
So first place to start where we're going through what this actually looks like, how this will look different. Manager chair, right? Bruce Bochy, I think we all know what the legacy is. We don't need to talk about that again. Why did he leave now? What was the impetus for him to say, okay, you know what, I'm happy this chapter in my life, this chapter in my career. I'm gonna say goodbye now.
Yeah, I think maybe it's you use the word chapter. I think with where the Rangers are going, not being out front and spending all the money in the world, it's a younger team. It will likely be a younger team, and maybe the thought was, hey, I'm not the best fit anymore, and maybe on the Rangers side there was an agreement that, hey, like. Boch, we love you. I mean, you brought us a World Series. You will forever be a legend here. We're not sure, like, do you really want to be a part of this, right? And I think that a lot of it will be on the player development side. And I think that's something, it's not that that's not a strength of Bruce Bochy's, but that really is, like, if you ask people around the league, like, what's a hallmark of, Skip Schumacher? Like, what? Player development. And that's another misnomer. Player development certainly does not end when a guy becomes a big leaguer.
No.
And you need guys to develop as big leaguers. You need guys to maximize what you can get out of them in a given year. And I think in a very short sample as a manager, that's been a strength of Skip Schumacher's. And even before he was a manager, he was really highly regarded from a development side.
He played his career the poster child for development within an organization.
We can hate I hate the Cardinals, but like, I talked to Brad Miller about this, who played for the Cardinals. And was a part of the 23 Rangers, but he's like, yeah, the Cardinal way is real. Like Randy Arozarena, I don't think they had any issue trading him because at that time, like he wasn't a Cardinal way player. And like they have convictions, or they did, they've had a regime change.
Right.
Like that organization had convictions. They stuck to those convictions. And if you didn't fit in that box, they didn't mind moving on from you. And it wasn't like so strict and rigid, like we're not going to, if you're super talented, we're not going to try and get you into the box. But like, if you show you're not willing to go in the box, then we don't believe that, like, we need you to win. And baseball's a unique sport where you can do that because, Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani were on the same team, and together they played 0 playoff games. Because if you took Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and they were on a basketball team together, that team's like always in the playoffs and maybe a piece away from being an NBA champion, right? But like in baseball, it's just not that way. So, You really do need that collective group, and I think that with what Skip Schumacher did with the Marlins, he's shown that he can get wins out of groups that are not supposed to win games. And I think maybe with a little bit of a younger group, this is a good time to make that change.
I know what Skip looked like in his playing days and what he brought to the table. What, like in detail, what do you think? He writes the 5 things on the grease board before each game. What do you think he's looking for?
So I'm not. There's and I don't believe this is like not fair or not accurate, but like, there's the coach speak, the catchy slogans. Mm-hmm. He's got some of those things. As a matter of fact, he's got like a 4-letter acronym that spells, I can't remember what it is, but it's like his core values. But like that aside, like I think he's in a unique spot because he had a front row seat to this team all year. Right. And I think it's different. Like, yes, assistant coaches or in baseball, whether it's a hitting coach, a pitching coach, a bench coach, in football, a coordinator, whatever, they get elevated at times. And so but like, I think it's different when you're not in the trenches like that. Cause Skip was an advisor or a consultant, whatever his term was. So like he had a front row seat without like ever being forced down like a certain path. Like he really was able to step back. And I think that for him, especially as a position player in his career, like the quality, the at-bat quality, the approach, those are things like from a tangible, because my guess is people listening don't want to hear like, integrity and confidence and compassion, like
Character.
And not that stuff's not real. It is, and he's got some of those beliefs and convictions about just going about your business on a daily basis. But like, I think that from like a tangible, how is this team going to be better? Or like, what will the identity of this team be that's different than last year? I think offensively, I think there's just going to be a level of an accountability that you're going to give this team good at bats. Not every single, but like if you are consistently not playing to the situation, and again, doesn't mean we're going to bunt every time, but just understanding what's going on. Hey, this pitcher who sucks has retired the first 5 hitters on 12 pitches, and we're letting him get into a rhythm. I don't need you with your 212 batting average going up and swinging at a first pitch breaking ball when you're looking for a fastball, right? Like, and that's the thing. I always get a kick out of it on Twitter. Like, why did he swing at the first pitch? Or why didn't he swing? Like, I never, I'm not good enough to be a major league hitter. Mike, you're a really good athlete.
Thank you.
Yes.
For acknowledging
If you stepped in the box and you popped out on the first pitch, but you got a fastball in the inner half, and you were looking for a fastball in the inner half, hey, that guy on the mound's pretty good too. I'm okay with that. I just think that there was a lot of, I don't know what my plan is. I don't know what it should be, or not a accountability to stick to that plan to follow a path for success.
Yeah.
So with all of that in mind, the first dude in the door who's really making some waves, apologies to Tyler Wade and his trade rumors blur, is Brandon Nimmo, right?
Yeah.
Poster child for I'm going to work out bats. I'm going to grind this thing through. We talked the other week about how we felt about this trade. How you feel about this? Because it's not like they got him for nothing. It's a very important dude was going out the door to get him in.
Yeah. So let's first talk about Marcus. Marcus should always get credit for signing here after a 100-loss season. And Marcus legitimately is a guy who, he didn't sign for free, but I think it was important for Marcus to go somewhere he could win. So the idea of being sold on a vision for a team that had just lost 100 games, that's never won a World Series, that hadn't made the playoffs since 2016, that's not easy. And I think that there was a legitimacy that was achieved when he signed. He also was third in the MVP voting in 23 and was one of the best players in Major League Baseball.
And a sweet, sweet man.
Everything
I've heard.
Yes. A change. You can't have as a team, and it's not all Marcus' fault by any means, but the last 2 years they've underachieved offensively. You got to shuffle the deck. And that doesn't mean, and they have a lot of veterans, right? They have a lot of veterans under contract. So it's not like we can shuffle the deck by getting rid of, these 5 guys who probably won't even get major league deals if we, put them on the streets. It's like, we got to make some tough decisions. Marcus's offense has declined. Maybe it's rejuvenated in New York. Maybe it changed. I don't know. I mean, he's work ethic, athleticism. I'm not going to bet against this guy, but also for the Rangers, they need to make a tough decision. His best asset is his defense. Well, this team set a major league record for fielding percentage last year. He was a big part of it. But if you're going to say that maybe they could trade from an area surplus, not so much from a position, but from a skill set, maybe it's defense, right? And it's not shortstop. Second's important, but you got some options there.
Right.
They need to help their lineup. What Brandon Nimmo brings, I think the first thing that's super important, he's a lefty, but he can hit lefties. And the reason that's important is because you got Jock Peterson and Evan Carter right now. As of now, they have not, Jock has, over his career, he's never really been able to hit lefties consistently. The Rangers have shown if a lefty's starting, he's out. 5th inning, big spot, lefty comes in, they're going to pinch hit. I don't know what they're going to do with Evan Carter. That's, can he hit lefties is a huge question. But as of now, we don't know that he can. We don't know for sure he won't.
Right.
We don't know that he can. Josh Smith, we saw last year, they started to platoon him a little bit. So now you can't have Josh Smith, Jock Peterson, Evan Carter, and Brandon Nimmo, who you don't feel good about against lefties. You're going to be super vulnerable either in the back end of a game where a righty starts or just in having to build a roster with all these platoons. So the fact that he's a lefty who can hit lefties is huge. You mentioned working counts. He's not going to see, 4 1/4 pitches per plate appearance, which will lead the league, but he's top 3rd in that, right? And he is not an easy out. He's not an easy strikeout. So I think a lot of times we look at sports, all right, this team needs a center fielder. They need a point guard. Or they need a wide receiver. But there's skills that come into play here. It's not just they need to fill a certain position. It's they need the guys who are going to make up their lineup to complement one another. I think Brandon Nimmo is the type of guy who can complement any lineup, no matter what their identity is. I think he's got a varied skill set, not necessarily with the back of the baseball card numbers, but some of the peripheral numbers that fit well. And I think this team desperately needed someone like that. Does that make sense? I don't know that.
Yeah, I got you. He hit leadoff most of the time up in New York. He seems like a great guy to say Skip can go, that's how you do it right there, and my first hitter is going to do it, and everyone else do that. Do you think that's where he hits, or where do you think he lands in the Rangers lineup?
So I think even though both he and Corey Seager can hit lefties, both are better against righties than lefties. So I think if you – and I do love the idea of my best hitters hit second. You know, we grew up, it was third, and there's a lot of data out there to show that like maybe hitting second's the best spot. Whatever the case, if you want Seager to hit second, maybe against a righty, Nimmo leads off. I think against a lefty, you could have Brandon hit still in a leverage spot, but not leading off. Or if you do, then you probably aren't going to stack Nimmo and Seager. So I think a lot of it is like you're going to build around your best player and where you want him. So if you want Corey hitting second no matter what, all right, against a righty, then Nimmo probably leads off because I think you're okay with that stack and maybe getting to a team early. If it's against a lefty and you still want Corey hitting second, well, then maybe you space out Nimmo a little bit. So, you know, with the lineup, the two spots where I think a team would like to find consistency is the leadoff spot and whatever they feel is your best player spot. So for some teams, that's still third. For other teams, that's second. Not positive what Skip thinks because he didn't really have that with the Marlins. Like he had a bunch of guys. It wasn't like he had a Corey Seager. So I think some of it's going to be in relation to Corey. But I do think against righties, I see no reason why Brandon Nimmo would not be a guy who makes the most sense right now to lead off. The only other guy, like Wyatt Langford to me is an intriguing leadoff hitter. He's not going to be the Shin-Soo Choo, like maybe have a 400 on base percentage, but like Wyatt will draw walks. Like Wyatt's a better than league average hitter when it comes to his discipline in that regard. And I kind of love because I experienced the Astros slapping the Rangers in the face for so many years, I love the idea of having a George Springer in his prime type guy, speed and power, like right away. And he's a righty. And so like Wyatt Langford's another guy who I still think would be an interesting leadoff hitter, but if not, Wyatt needs to hit first, second, or third for me. Corey needs to hit first, second, or third for me. And then against a righty, I'd like to see Brandon Nimmo hitting first, second, or third as of now.
Gotcha.
Supercharge the top. So part of Semien leaving is this is one of many departures from that 23 World Series team. All of a sudden, this team in a few years' time is looking extremely different than how it was. The impact of that, we see it in the lineup, we see it on the field, but there's the clubhouse. That's the unseen part. What does the leadership core look like now? Who's running the show there? Who are the folks who are really kind of establishing themselves as the people to set the tone? Because Marcus was a big part of that, and he's not the only one who left who was a big part of that either.
So one person who doesn't get a lot of credit from a leadership standpoint is Adolis, and he's gone. And he's not a leader or wasn't a leader in like, guys, like, I'm going to make a speech, but like, guys loved it. Like Adolis was maybe the most beloved guy in that clubhouse. And that matters, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You don't have to like have a leadership bone about you in terms of like putting your arms around guy. And like Adolis would, you know, especially with the Latin players, he was huge. But like there's something to be said about a guy who walks in there and everyone's like wants to be around him. And that was Adolis. So like, you know, and you can find guys like that. By all accounts, like Brandon Nimmo is supposed to be like one of the nicest guys in the world. And it seems like it so far. But I think a lot of times we like to project leadership on people. And we love the idea like our best player is our leader too, right? Well, one of the things about Corey, who, you know, whether it's Corey or Wyatt, Corey Seager's been this team's best player. That's not what's comfortable for him. And he doesn't try to be a leader. Like I think some people like to try to be a leader from like an ego standpoint. Like they love that idea. Like I'm the
right.
But like regardless, you need multiple guys like that. Especially when you got 26 active players, more than that in the clubhouse because you got injured guys. And because pitchers and position players are kind of in their own worlds at times, like Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom are all like badasses from like a leadership standpoint. That's like one of the biggest surprises to me, by the way, like being around Jacob deGrom. The Mets, understand it, like New York media is, you know, they're pretty fiery. But they painted a picture like this guy's all about himself. He's not tough. He's like, whatever. Let me tell you, like, this guy cares a ton, like, about the team and working, like, the relationship between Jacob deGrom, Nathan Eovaldi and Jack Leiter, like really cool to witness. But like Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom from like a leadership standpoint, those guys are money. Like I'm good on the pitching side. Like maybe like get a reliever who like can kind of just help be the leader of the bullpen. But I don't know about the position player side. That's not what, like Corey doesn't want to be that. That's not what's comfortable with him. I don't want someone to be a leader if they're not comfortable being a leader. That makes it worse.
Yeah, that's fake. Yeah.
In 23, you can play the Rangers don't win the World Series without this guy. But like Travis Jankowski, Brad Miller, Will Smith on the pitching side, and then once the Rangers got him, Austin Hedges will never get enough credit for what they meant to that team. And having Travis Jankowski back as a first base coach is awesome, but you still need it from a player side. So right. I don't know the answer. That is maybe Wyatt Langford takes a little more grip of a lead, because I think he's got it in him, right? But who, I don't know. I think Brandon Nimmo will help. But is Brandon Nimmo the guy? And do you need one guy? Derek Jeter's unique. And Aaron Judge, like we were having this conversation, how many players are truly like elite leaders who are also the team's best player? And like that's a short list. And Aaron Judge is that guy. Like not that I've ever covered the Yankees, but like talking to people like, no, like, this guy's real. Like people rally around this guy. Mm-hmm. I don't know who that is going to be for the Rangers. Doesn't need to be their best player. Marcus was great at leading by example. And I think young guys really benefited a ton from like seeing like this is a guy that's got a routine. He sticks to it. Doesn't matter whether he's, 10 for his last 20 or 0 for his last 20. Doesn't matter whether we've played 10 games in a row without an off day or we've had 2 off days in the last 10 days. Like this guy he goes through his stuff. Like I think that's like super valuable. Mm-hmm. But like I don't think Marcus's role was like the guys I talk and everyone just gravitates to me.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know who that guy is. And you need that when you're trying to weather storms, because you need the guy that's going to be like, guys, we're fine. Like, whatever. Like, yeah, we've lost 7 straight, but like, we're badasses. I know it. You know it. Or you need the guy that's going to light people up when they need to be lit up. And I don't know who that's going to be. That's a question that needs to be answered.
So obviously the void at second base is there. They've said a lot of Josh Smith things over the last couple of days when asked about it, but you can look at the splits of Josh Smith once it gets, a little bit later in the season. And I love Josh Smith, but his body hasn't held up, just quite frankly, last 2 seasons. So this season's plan for second base, what do you think it is? And then late in the season, who's our closing second baseman if it's not Josh Smith?
So I think the part of the beauty of the Josh Smith thing is that because he can play 56 different positions, if the Rangers were to continue to shuffle the deck and trade a guy who we all think is going to be in the lineup, I don't know who that would be. Whether it's an outfielder, whether, Josh Young, I'm not saying that, but like that nothing's off the table here. Mm-hmm. Well, then you can, Josh Smith can be a part of other conversations too. Who's Josh Smith against lefties? Do you want Evan Carter to play every single day? And if you want Evan Carter to play every single day against righties and lefties, can you afford to have both Evan Carter and Josh Smith in there against lefties? Mm-hmm. Maybe you can if the other guys are just firing, right? Like that's part of one of the shames. Like I know Evan Carter hasn't been able to stay healthy, but like even when healthy, it's been tough to justify putting him in there regularly against lefties when the lineup as a whole is struggling. Mm-hmm. What if the lineup's been great? Then you can stick him in the 9-hole, say, hey, whatever we get, like work the count. Like whatever we get from you is bonus. Josh Smith is one of these guys who plays with his hair on fire and works with his hair on fire. So like, I think one of the things that he's talked about and talked about even last year towards the end is like learning how to work and knowing that it's okay to do less so that you can run the marathon. But you're right. I mean, the numbers last 2 years, you could squint and make a case for Josh Smith as an all-star, but not post all-star break.
Right.
And maybe they're in a position because of their options. I think like internally right now, with all due respect to Tyler Wade, we'll leave him off for now. Josh Smith, Michael Hellman, Cody Freeman, Zeke Duran, and I always forget one. There's 5.
Foscue?
No, not Foscue. They don't want him playing second, I don't think.
Really?
What I said, Smith, Duran, Hellman, Freeman. There's one more. I'm forgetting one, and I'm sorry. Duran. Smith, Duran, Hellman, Freeman.
They had Duran first. Yeah. You counted Duran twice.
There's one more I'm forgetting internally, but they've got 5 internal options. Mm-hmm. and maybe it is a little mix and match. But I think right now, the season started today. Josh Smith's your second baseman. This is going to piss me off. I got to figure out who this person I'm doing wrong.
Jared Sandler loves you. Just because we didn't remember right now, Jared Sandler still
Did you list Josh Smith when you listed all the guys?
Did I?
Or did you list all the other guys besides Josh Smith?
The guy that I've been forgetting is Freeman, not for any reason other than I still just think of him as like a total utility guy. Sam Haggerty.
Okay.
Sam Haggerty can play second. That's not like his primary spot.
We weren't going to get there.
Yeah, Sam Haggerty is another guy who, and he's a guy who helped them last year, like cheap labor, who was productive in his role.
So Shoemaker cracked open the door to something that I think a lot of smart baseball fans have been wondering for a bit, which is Wyatt Langford's center fielder.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
So yeah, I'm not a doctor or in kinesiology or whatever to know like how much playing center field does to your body compared to playing a corner. And I also don't know how the turf impacts it. And I know that, they've done all this research to like put the turf with the coconut husks like to best mimic grass. But I do wonder with Mike Trout. If Mike Trout never played any center field, would his health story been any different? I don't know. Like maybe not. I don't know. What I do know is that you get more it's more taxing to play center field than it is a corner. Wyatt Langford's best asset is his bat. His second best asset is his speed. But like at the end of the day, who knows? Like Wyatt Langford, who knows what he'll be in 10 years, right? Like so, it's one of those like, how much am I planning on this guy's going to be a Ranger for 12 years, and I want to maximize him for the 12 years versus I don't know what the next 10 years. I don't know the next 10 days are going to be like. If he's my best guy right now, he's my best guy right now. I think Wyatt Langford would be a really good center fielder. His athleticism, he's got this like football. I mean, he was a football player in high school too. So like the wall is not a thing for him. Like he'll run through the wall or go like, so like Mike, I don't know that. I think that's very possible that the best defensive alignment for the Rangers is one with Wyatt Langford in center field. Do you want to maybe give him half the season in a corner? Give him some time off. Like maybe that is what's best. But it's one of those things where it's like, it's same with pitching and Tommy. Like, we don't know. Like, we think we know, we don't know. But I am intrigued by that. I definitely think, I think if Wyatt's in the outfield with Brandon Nimmo and Evan Carter, I would be very curious to see what it looks like with Wyatt in center and Evan in left or right and Nimmo in left.
Yeah, sure.
But I do think you also have to consider like what's Wyatt's best asset, and that's why offense in center field has gone downhill is because a lot of teams are putting their guys who are capable of playing center, but they're bat first guys in a corner spot, and they're leaving their center fielders to be a Leody Taveras type or whatever you get offensively from him as a bonus. But your job's out here to be like a Gold Glove caliber center fielder, right? That was like the reason it didn't work ultimately with Leody in center with the Rangers last year was like, he was struggling at the plate, but like he also, if he was giving you Gold Glove defense, like maybe the best center fielder in baseball or top 5, like he would have been around for longer, but they didn't feel like they were probably getting that either.
Mm-hmm. Give me the brief 1-minute elevator pitch on Sebastian Walcott, and when do you think he is in Arlington? So
freak athlete, probably a guy that could be moved just because of his size. I mean, he's like a man child. When you're like next to him, like, wow, like there's certain guys you see, like they're 6'3", 220, but like two guys can have the same numbers, but like one guy just looks bigger, right? Mm-hmm. Watching him in spring training, like everything he hits is hard. Play discipline for a lot of long levered young hitters too. Like that's not abnormal. Like got to get better. Figuring out where the defensive fit is. But like maturity, work ethic, none of that stuff's an issue. If he is a Texas Ranger in 2026, something's gone wrong. Either there are injuries or the team is really struggling, and it's one of those, like, we want to give the fans something to get excited about for next year. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he's not even of drinking age. If he wasn't a major leaguer for 3 more years, we wouldn't think, like, wow, like, that guy is so behind schedule. Now, because we've heard his name for 40 years, it would feel that way.
Right.
He's got I don't know whether he'll start in AA or AAA, but I want to see him, like, really dominate a level. Last year, like a lot of guys who are ahead of schedule age-wise, you give them passes because it's like, yeah, they're the youngest in the league, or like the average age is 5 years older than them. So it's okay that they're not putting up all-star numbers. But like at some point they need to do that, right? Like I need to see a guy, just every time I'm looking at the box score for AA or AAA, it's like 2 hits and an extra base hit, or like what, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I need to see that, and we haven't seen that yet from him in AA or AAA, which is okay. But like, I don't think he's like knocking on the door right now to be a big leaguer. I think if he's not a big leaguer in 2027, then that's where it's like, dang, like I feel like maybe we're a little like that trajectory's changed a bit. There's going to be a lot of questions about Sebastian Walcott, a lot of interest, and I get it. He's the top prospect and one of the top in baseball. But I don't think it's a bad thing if he's not a major leaguer in 2026.
So as we talked about,
That was more than a minute. I'm sorry. I'm not
good.
good.
I love
Try not
it.
to get excited about it, Sebastian Walcott. Dude's exciting. So as we talked about, there are going to be payroll things to be mindful of. It's going to be a more measured off season. They're not going to be making all the splashy transactions.
Yes, I will take a pay cut to help the Rangers, but I know you're
What a
wondering.
guy.
Yeah,
What a
yeah,
guy.
I will.
Set it on record.
I learned from Dirk, so he's my hero.
Team player. You don't
Yeah.
have an agent either. So what, in your mind, does a realistic offseason look like? To set the table for people watching this, they're wondering,
Yeah.
what should I expect? What should we be looking for here?
The Rangers are going to get a catcher. They need someone to pair with Kyle Higashioka, whether it's someone who's better than Higgy, who we're like, okay, Higgy's the 1B, or someone who's the 1B to Higgy's 1A. And they probably need to get another veteran who they can sign to a minor league deal for depth. They got to basically rebuild a bullpen again, right? There's just, Robert Garcia's back. We talked about some of the young guys who would be nice to get contributions from. And then they need, maybe another starter for depth. Like they're not in a bad spot at all, right? They're great rotation of Eovaldi, DeGrom. You got Leiter, Jacob Latz, I think, exciting for a lot of reasons. And then, who knows what you get from Rocker, but like, I think getting one more starter who you feel good, like this guy's going to be in the rotation, put Kumar Rocker in a position to earn starts. I do think like the idea of competition is so huge. I think, having the Little Rascals last year, it was great for a lot of reasons. I think like the best reason was their guys who weren't in the lineup at the time, who were hurt, working their way back. It's like, shoot, like, do I have playing time? Like, even if like that was never not going to be the case, like that fire, lighting a fire under asses, like that's good. Like we want that.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a lot of depth building. I do think that there are things like there are rumors about, Corey Seager. I don't think the Rangers have any interest in trading Corey Seager. The Mavs traded Luka Doncic. I'll never say never on Sunday, right? Like, so if the Red Sox were like, hey, we'll give you Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer for Corey Seager, like I think like you got to at least listen, right? I don't think I'm just seeing that as like a random hypothetical.
Yeah.
I don't foresee that happening. I think like Corey Seager is going to be on this team, but the trade stuff is so much harder to predict than free agent. Free agency would be like, this guy's a free agent, so he's available. That the only obstacle between that guy and your team is money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like trading and the money. So like free agency is a little tougher or a little easier to forecast. Not that that's like easy to do, but like the trade stuff. Like if you told me right now the Rangers didn't make another like significant trade, I'd be like, all right, yeah, it makes sense. But if you told me like, hey, the Rangers made like a couple interesting trades, or they're going to, I'd be like, yeah, totally makes sense for a team. Like, because I'll say this, Chris Young, he's aggressive. He is not a sit on my ass and like, I believe in these guys for a third year, right? Like no, it's been 2 years. Like I want to win. And to Chris Young's credit, I don't think the idea of a rebuild or even a reload is like something he cares too much about, especially when you've got Eovaldi and DeGrom, right? So and Seager, who's like, he's not getting younger. So I think you could see a shakeup in a trade type situation, but if not, I don't know that there's like a big free agent. I think it's more just roster building and putting pieces together, if that makes pieces that like they think really fit for a variety of reasons.
He's Jared Sandler. We will have him back as we get closer to spring training and it heats up again for the Texas Rangers. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you, man. Always enjoy seeing you.
I'm more of like a college shot clock guy. The NBA shot clock for me would be like really tough to fit like all my words in 24 seconds. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me.
I love it, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome back to StrongSide, episode 7, the Dwight Powell of episodes. Hey, if you are actually going to retire at the end of the year, let's hang out, bro. We should hang out more. You see those rumors?
I saw the rumors, and I saw the rumors getting debunked. I mean, it's not crazy. He's 34, deal's expiring. I get it.
He can do whatever he wants. He's like the smartest man alive.
Dude, he's great.
Let him do whatever
He's
he
a
wants.
delight. He's a delight.
You know who else is the greatest dude on earth,
Who?
according to some people?
Huh.
Shotty.
Yeah.
Brian
All
Schottenheimer.
It's modest proposal time. I have
What's
a very-
driving you crazy, Mike?
This is driving me crazy. This isn't Who Do You Hate? It's just a modest proposal. I make those from time to time. My modest proposal is very simple. Can we just talk about this dude normally? Just a little bit? Because the last week especially has really just driven me nuts. I saw one tweet this morning from a dude who's affiliated with Kalshi, which in and of itself is a red flag. Don't be affiliated with that company. But he's clipping a shoddy thing. And it's a good soundbite because Brian Schottenheimer does good soundbites.
He's good at that.
He's very good at that.
Ted Lasso ass coach.
Right. And he is. And we've been on that since the beginning. But it's a soundbite, right? And it's him talking about something. I don't even know what it was because it matters, but it doesn't. And he's sitting there. He says, we didn't see this from Mike McCarthy, right? This is why Brian's the right guy for the job. And I saw some other tweet because then I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, I think other people think this. So we got to go down the rabbit hole.
Yeah,
and
there are others like you.
Somebody did a year-by-year thing of like some date this week where last year Mike McCarthy had them practicing indoors because it was cold, and Brian's got him outside in the cold like football man. And I keep seeing when Brian Schottenheimer got hired, I think everybody, even the biggest skeptic, and I am the biggest skeptic. To be clear, it is me. But everybody knew the guy is great on the vibes. People like Brian Schottenheimer. And then this evolved to this team is winning, and Brian's a leader of men. And
They're winning because of the vibes.
We are
Mike.
winning because of the vibes. The
Think
vibes are
about
so
it.
good. The vibes are amazing. And now it is turning to other people didn't have these vibes. And we just got to put this in perspective. This is a man who is coaching a team that will probably not make the playoffs for reasons that are bigger than just him, right? But they're probably not making the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, will they win a playoff game? Don't know. If they win one, will they win more than one? Probably not. Will they win the Super Bowl this year for the first time since 1995? No, don't think that's happening. So why are we getting to this point with Brian where every single week we are spinning this out of control? I hate to be the Mike McCarthy defender. It's not. It looks about as good on me as a cheap suit.
You've been dying to defend
Mike
Big
McCarthy
Mac.
had the best 3-year stretch for this team since the Super Bowl years.
Yeah.
Man won 3 consecutive years of 12 games a pop.
Yeah.
He won the first road playoff game in 30 years. I get that it was not what everybody wanted in the end. I fully supported a coaching change. But we cannot be sitting here saying that this guy who has done nothing yet is so much better than Mike, who did a lot of things
Yeah.
in circumstances that were also challenging, right? Sure, this Micah Parsons trade is a disaster. I get it. You had to wait till midseason to get your defense salvageable. Not even good, but salvageable. Guess what? Mike McCarthy dealt with, we've got one receiver who's good. We are on the last fumes of the Tyron Smith, Zach Martin era of the offensive line. Who's blocking for a quarterback? We just have to put this in the proper perspective of Brian Schottenheimer has exceeded expectations. You should feel nothing but good about him going forward, but he hasn't accomplished anything yet. I'm sure Brian Schottenheimer will tell you if you asked him, he has accomplished nothing yet.
No.
So can we he is a coach that is made for these times. We're not saying I'm not made for these times. Brian Schottenheimer is made for these times because his whole deal can be clipped and sound bit and snapped off in 2-minute increments, and you watch him and you apply what a football coach should be in your head to him, and you say, that's it. And then you see these dudes having fun, and then you see that they're definitely not a bad team, and you think that Brian is the solution. And maybe in 5 years we look and he is. But right now we know nothing. And the idea that we're sitting here talking about this guy as the Messiah and this leader of men, and suddenly the guy before whom who got a lot of shit done, not all the shit, but a lot of the shit, more shit than what we're seeing this year, suddenly that dude ain't it because we got this guy. Can we just not? Can we just enjoy this for what it is, which is this hire, which the process was a disaster. However well this goes, the process was disastrous. Right now, we are getting much better than disastrous results. That is good. Everybody should like that. This dude, who by all counts everybody likes, is succeeding in his dream job at a time when he probably didn't think he'd get that dream job. That is frankly, honest to God, if there's anything about Brian Schottenheimer that's inspiring, that is it. That this dude chipped away, I wasn't told no, and found an opportunity, however he got it, and ran with that. That is great. That is awesome. Let's talk about that. But please, I do not want to hear any more about how Brian is so much more of a football man than the dude who actually won a Super Bowl and got a bunch of 12-win seasons around here. I do not want to hear any more about Brian being this leader of men, even though he has led them to nothing but a 500 adjacent record right now. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear, this is going well. Let's build on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We can stop there. Let's stop there.
That's where we stopped last week. We said year one of Shotty is a success.
Absolutely.
And that is equal parts what he has done or what I perceive him to have done as the circumstances that they put him in.
Yes.
Which is day one, you step in the door and your best player, Micah Parsons, is on your ass, mad, like red-assed hot mad, and wants to be out of here. Stepping in the door, doing that, to where we are now, which is, a hilarious probably 8-1 finish.
Mm-hmm. Very Cowboys.
Like down to the wire. Man, that is a win. That is a huge win for the pit that Jerry Jones threw you in at the beginning of the season.
Got the Sarlacc down there just chewing up your ankles,
That's a different ball game than what Mike McCarthy has done in his career. We can dunk on Mike McCarthy all we want, and
And if this show were around, we would have dunked on Mike McCarthy.
Yeah,
to be clear, that would have happened.
Exactly, and maybe I don't know. I feel weird because this is part of coaching now. I think almost on all levels is that there is the Instagrammability of your coaching tactics. There is the do I let the videographer into the room or not to capture me, given my fired up, go get 'em boys speech or not. The rest of the day and the rest of the week after that clip, Shotty could have been a different person. But you take this one clip, that's him now. I apply this to all things he does. He has a positive influence on it because of this action right here that I saw on social media on a clip. Mike McCarthy could have done the same exact thing. He just probably didn't let the videographers in the room because he's a serious football coach.
Other than when he's talking about the watermelons.
I don't even remember.
And the monkey butt paste. There were moments, there were gimmicks.
There were some weird things.
And look, it all came off a little more canned than what it is with Schottenheimer. It feels a lot more authentic, and that's good, and that's why
Shotty's a lot younger, dude. Like, he's closer to being like that 53 man on the roster than you want to realize. Like, those dudes are just normal dudes, and he's kind of just a normal dude, too.
Yeah.
Like, he can relate to those guys, you know what I mean? Like, they're just guys, and he does – the funniest thing that Shotty does to me is he changes his voice. Like, notice him whenever they're rolling, whenever they're winning, he does Glenn Powell Twister's voice. That's when you know he's on the sauce.
He really – you could tell he spent a lot of time around Pete Carroll.
Yes, exactly. But that stuff – my big point about that is that stuff, for some reason nowadays, matters. Because that can get a fan base on your side and buy you a little bit of patience.
Right.
To whenever you are a Sean McVay and you have a really, really bad season and your whole roster looks like it's aging to hell and your quarterback looks like he's broken, maybe buys you one more year.
Yeah.
And lets you rebuild that defense and you take Jared Verse in the first. And then, look out, boys, we're back.
Yep.
That's what you have to do as a coach, I think, nowadays. And it's not on Shotty. We're talking to people that are like,
it's bigger than that. Yeah.
But I think that's part of it nowadays, man, is the likability as a coach and the relationship you have with a fan base, because you've seen dudes that don't or just don't play the game and they get run probably a year too early.
Yeah.
Like Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, right? I like Vrabel because he's a weirdo.
He didn't have patience to do things he didn't want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so it buys you that even that month or two past the hot seat time where you go, you know what, whatever, we'll figure it out. We'll keep you around forever, Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? That type of stuff, that we got the right guy. Just those guys have to have confidence that they have the right guy, that we're going to see this thing through in a quick-like fashion. And Shotty's playing the game. And does it work next year? Does it work 3 years in? Does it work? I don't know. But right now, he is winning his first season, and he's still not close to what Mike McCarthy's accomplished. We can say both.
Yeah.
We can say both.
Absolutely.
We're complex characters.
This is a show of nuance.
Exactly. Awesome, man. That was a fun show. Thank you so much to the Haymaker studio in Frisco. Thank you to Matt and JD on the ones and twos. I'm Mike Marshall. That's Mike Palucci. Machine Sports, Mike Likes Sports. Please check out the rest of the episodes. And thank you, Jared Sandler, for driving all the way up here and hopping on and being the best at talking Rangers baseball. Fantastic show, if I might say myself. Please stick around with this moving forward. We'll be here every week. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.